Hello, we're a group of three for Taxation Law, and our group assignment is Mr. Kales versus Federal Commissioner of Taxation. We are going to talk about this group, give the introduction part, background, and conclusion. My friend Franco here will give the introduction part.
Hello everyone, my name is Franco. We are talking about the case Kell versus Federal Commissioner of Taxation. In this case, applicant has claimed for reduction in overtime expenses of meals. He was not getting paid under the hour wage rate. The payment which was used for allowance was a construction which is considered as a national appointment for the part of the wage. Considered as his meal overtime expenses, this allowance came out of the wage of applicant and had nothing to do with the overtime meal expenses. The statement for applicant is his tax return that he was supposed to be entitled for this deduction has been considered as false and misleading. He did not match with the taxation law, so in this case the applicant should be imposed with the administrative penalty, which should be at the rate of 25% and it should be remitted. In the backgrounds, in the years 2012 and 2013 are the income years which should be considered for the review of case. Mr. Kerr was an employee by Norby Building Group, and in these income years he filed for tax return by tax agents known as Mr. David. After this relevant year, notice of assessment was released by the commissioner of these income years. In years 2014-2017, February, commissioner advised to mark Mr. Kell for this income tax return for the year which had been considered for audit purpose. Yeah, so now my friend
I'll explain the.
is going to explain the consideration what happened with the case.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So, hey, my name is Jose, and I'll be talking about Mr. Kale's working arrangements. A director of Nordic, Mr. Timo and Mr. Kale both gave evidence and made statements at the time of hearing. I have made certain findings which are based on the proof of Mr. Kale and Mr. Timo, which are normally not engaged in competition. During the mentioned financial years, Mr. Kale's influence added in many factors such as quantity surveying and workplace health and safety, project management, and construction supervisor of others in the workforce. He worked in the daytimes in the field and to do office works in the evening. He also often worked in the Saturday and Sunday. Mr. Timo would fix the Mr. Kale's earnings even before the start of the financial year. The pay was higher than the amount that should be given as per the Building and Construction General On-Site Award 2010. He was also paid extra for his overtime work, his personal expenses for the work purposes. Sometimes he also has to use his vehicle for work purposes, and he was also paid for that type of expenses. Furthermore, Mr. Kale also used to pocket the profit share bonus, which was declared by Mr. Timur after finishing each project, considering all the expenses he used to get paid in a weekly basis. Okay, so now my friend Akshay will give the conclusion part.
Hi, myself Akshay. The commissioner was right to force an punishment at the rate of 25% of the assessment defect, some emerging from Mr. Kale, and Mr. Kale really caused the cost that he guaranteed as a conclusion. Mr. Kale at last neglected to take sensible care of constant tax assessment law. Commissioner has noted that, and according to that, the punishment was that half of the shortage of the sum come about because of carelessness of you and your specialist with regards of operation of taxation law. And first it gives the base the punishment of 75% of the chance that it come about because of deliberating negligence of taxation law. Mr. Kale was not paid an extra time meal allowance under an industrial instrument or something else. The installment of a recompense was a development. It had no impact on Mr. Kale gross pay and would never have been with extra minute super cost. Mr. Kale guaranteed a reasoning in connection of each of the applicable salary years for additional time feast costs. His announcements that he was qualified for those reasoning were false and deceiving. Mr. Kale neglected to take sensible care of and to agree of the taxation collective law.
Thank you.